What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Great League with a triple horse themed team featuring Galarian Rapidash as well as two brand new Pokemon that were released this weekend at the City Safari events in Mudbray and Mudsdale. Now I was hoping that since I was actually playing at the event and even travelling home on the very same day that I'd get the chance to be one of the first creators to showcase these Pokemon for a change, but as I was at the airport in Milan I saw Yonkers had already uploaded a video featuring Mudsdale, and when I landed, Henry put out a video featuring Mudbray. So I'm sitting there thinking like, man, how can I compete with these guys? They've literally got people send them gameplay before the event has even finished. But yeah, anyways, I figured since I'm not going to be the first to showcase these Pokemon, I actually probably just mostly talk about the event and my experience as I did go to the event, whereas they didn't. And I'm sure some of you will be interested to hear about it, and if you're not interested, I'm not going to be offended if you click off the video right now, but of course there will be gameplay in the background, so if you want to just zone out to what I'm saying and watch the gameplay, then you're more than welcome to do so. But anyways, before we do that, if you're wanting to know if you've missed out on anything, if you didn't get a chance to play at any of the City Safari events to obtain these Pokemon, well, the answer is no. Now, they're certainly not unusable, but they just don't really have anything unique about them. They're just pure ground-type Pokemon with very average stats, and there's just no reason to use them over other Mudslappers like Gashadon or Marowak or Golurk, and in actual fact, Donphan is basically identical to these Pokemon in terms of stats and typing and has a lot of shared moves. However, Donphan also has access to Trailblaze, which makes it considerably better as it can boost up its attack stats. Anyways, with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What is your favorite Pokemon that's currently unreleased in Pokemon Go? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Now, before I talk about the event, I want to talk about something that I found quite funny, and maybe you guys will have missed it. Some of you probably would have seen this, but I made a community post a few days ago basically saying like, sorry, I'm not going to be posting videos for the next few days as I am away in Milan for the City Safari event. And maybe like a few minutes after I posted that, the first comment said like, oh, you're going to be in India, that's really cool. And I was just thinking like, no, read the first line. It says I'm in Milan, not in India. So unfortunately for them, probably from India, were hoping to meet me maybe. I was in Milan, so a different City Safari altogether. But I thought, you know what, I'm not going to comment. I'm sure someone else will correct them straight away. And the next comment right after that, replying to that comment, was like, no, Milan is in France. And I'm just like, oh my God. How have we got two comments that are so wrong already? And yeah, I just found that so funny, so I thought I'd mention it. Obviously you can go to my community tab and read it for yourself if for whatever reason you don't believe me and you want to see it in person. But yeah, I thought that was funny, so I thought I'd share it. But yeah, going into the event, and I kind of want to address the elephant in the room, which is, you know, I'm someone that claims to be free to play, and you might be thinking, well, you literally just flew to Milan for a ticketed Pokemon event, so how on earth can you claim to be free to play? Well, I'll be honest, I don't say I'm completely free to play. I say I'm for the most part free to play. I don't buy any coins, so I don't pay for any like raid passes or incubators or buy any bundles in the shop, but I do, you know, from time to time I will buy a ticket for one of these big events, so either like GoFest or Unova Tour, or an event like this where you actually have to go in person to a specific location. And even then, I actually usually don't buy the tickets anyways. Usually a friend of mine will just gift them to me because she realizes that I'm incredibly stingy with my money, and if she's gonna be at the event anyways and wants the company, she's just gonna buy a ticket for me as well. So shout out to Category Queen, as I do appreciate that, even if of course I'm not willing to necessarily pay for the tickets anyways. But also the flights were really cheap. It was like less than £30 for a return ticket to Milan. So for anyone thinking like, wow, you must have spent loads to go to Milan specifically for a Pokemon event, nope, it's actually really cheap to fly to Milan from Europe already. So yeah, it wasn't that expensive at all. And plus, my friends already wanted to go to Milan anyway, so we kind of just turned it into like a touristy holiday kind of thing with Pokemon in the middle. So it wasn't necessarily only for Pokemon, it was kind of just a sort of touristy trip away to Milan and then sprinkled in some Pokemon as well. But yeah, I thought I'd just clear that up for anyone thinking like, man, he claims to be free to play, is he lying to us? Nope, it's not the case, but I do buy tickets every now and then. But anyways, I am going to be honest about these big events. I typically don't really enjoy them as much as most people do. Like, for one, I really don't care about shinies at all, and that's kind of the main selling point for a lot of these big events. I also don't care for raiding legendary Pokemon at all. That wasn't really the focus of this event, but like for the Unova Tour, for example, I didn't even raid enough Kyurem to fuse a single one of them, so I got stuck with that task for ages before Niantic updated it to something that didn't obviously require fusing the Kyurem with a Zekrom or a Reshiram, because that's no longer even obtainable anymore. And to be honest, just walking around and catching Pokemon for like 8 hours straight, to me, is incredibly boring. Like, I just don't have the attention span for it. Like, it's just so repetitive. I just can't do it. I really struggle. But I often have like these really weird priorities for these events, and it usually involves trying to obtain XL candies for like the most random Pokemon that I can think of for building for the Great League. But unfortunately for me, usually that Pokemon that I'm targeting is often super rare, or maybe it only spawn for like 1 hour out of the whole event, and even then in that hour I'll see like maybe 12 of them and I get like 4 XL candies in total. So like when it comes to gathering XLs, I'm barely able to make a dent towards getting it to level 50, and to be honest, it's usually quite disappointing. And the other thing that I often prioritize in these events is trying to get trades from people that I've never interacted with before, because if you don't know, if you're like a really low friendship with someone, they have a lower IV floor for trading, so you're able to obtain certain Pokemon that if you traded with a best friend, for example, there's just no way they would be able to go below, there's just no way they'd be able to go below 1500 CP for the Great League. So, for example, at the moment, and what I've been trying to obtain for absolutely ages, is a Great League Circuitry. But in order to do so, you have to trade with someone that you've only ever interacted with once before, and even with that lowered IV floor, there's only a 0.1% chance to actually get a Great League Circuitry from that trade. So it's pretty much impossible. I've not been able to obtain one so far, and unfortunately it's a very unrealistic target as well to aim for. So yeah, like with grinding XL candies for like the super rare Pokemon, usually these obscure sort of goals that I have are very hard to achieve. And yeah, I'll be honest, like I often feel very disappointed after these big events. But on the other hand, the City Safari event was a very different experience, and not really because of the features of the event, but rather an overlapping bonus from the Bug Out event. And honestly, this might be one of the best bonuses we have ever had in an event. And the bonus that I'm talking about is when you get a nice, great, or excellent throw, you have a bonus chance at getting more XL candies from that throw, and that's a huge bonus. And I'll be honest, this one bonus completely transformed my excitement and engagement for this event, because it actually made it worthwhile trying to grind XL candies for Pokemon that I realized I'm probably not going to see outside of this event for maybe even like over a year. So you can actually make substantial progress towards maxing those Pokemon, and yeah, it made it a lot more exciting for me to maybe try and catch as many of the Jangmo-o, or like even something just random like a Crabrawler, where the Great League Crabrawler is going to be absolutely useless. Another crustacean that, you know, obviously I just made a video featuring 3 XL oh my god, it's such a hard word to say, crustaceans that were all pretty useless. But you know, Crabrawler, not a very common Pokemon spawn at all, and I was actually able to make a lot of progress towards getting XL candies for that Pokemon, and a few others as well. Like for example, in the Bug Out event, even though it was only spawning from lures, because Milan was obviously very Pokestop dense anyways, and pretty much every Pokestop had a lure in it throughout the entire time that I was there. So I was actually able to get loads of XL candies towards a... I've suddenly forgotten what it was called. What's the little centipede Pokemon that's just released? Why can't I think of it? Sizzlipede, that's the one. Yeah, I've got like over 200 XL candies towards that. Now, I managed to get a hundo from the research task, so I'm working towards that. But obviously that was not actually part of the event. But just in general, I felt like the event was just so much more enjoyable, because the goals that I had were just actually obtainable for once, whereas usually like I'm just not going to make much progress towards the goals that I've set, because I've got very different goals to a lot of people, and I don't really have the attention span to just seriously grind hard for the full 8 hours. So yeah, for me, I thought it was a really, really enjoyable event. What I will say, and this is like no fault of the event itself, I forgot to bring a portable charger, and so obviously playing for 8 hours, everyone knows Pokemon Go drains your battery like crazy. I had to play the whole event on like really low brightness to the point where I was like just barely visible if I like really put my phone as close to my face as possible. And I also turned off native refresh rate, so I was playing with 30 FPS. So yeah, I'll be honest, it was not the most enjoyable experience ever, and I did often have to just like close my phone and let my gotcha catch for a while, because otherwise my battery would just run out completely. But yeah, that's obviously not a problem with the event itself. That was just really poor planning on my part. And then another thing I'd say about the event is the spawns were like incredibly dense. If you think about maybe spotlight hours, compared to like even like a community day, spotlight hours have really crazy spawns, and it's probably similar to that. However, obviously in this safari event, there are loads of different Pokemon spawning. It's not just all the same Pokemon, which means, you know, it's really kind of hard to, you know, find the Pokemon that you're actually wanting to catch, because there's just so much on the screen. Obviously, because I had my brightness really low, I could barely see anything, and trying to like identify a Jangmo-o or like a Crabrawler when there's like 50 different Pokemon on my screen and they're all like, some of them take up a lot of space, like a Lotad for example, just being a massive circle. You can hardly see, like a lot of Pokemon are just inside themselves, and it's just really hard. And also, even if you do identify a few Pokemon that you're trying to catch, you often end up tapping on the wrong thing anyways, because there's just so much there. However, I will say that's being a bit nitpicky, and I'd probably rather it be towards this extreme than just hardly being any spawns, because if there are like, maybe like, say for example, if they had half the spawns that we actually got, then I just see half of the Pokemon that I wanted to catch, and I'd probably complain saying like, oh, there's just hardly any Jangmo-o at all. It was kind of pointless really. So yeah, I thought overall, pretty good event. In terms of shinies, obviously I said that I don't really care too much about shinies. I had pretty funny luck to start with. So if you don't know, one of the things that was like, one of maybe the main selling points of this was Eevee with like a safari hat. I think it's a safari hat, I don't know, I transferred all the ones I caught because I don't care about it at all. But there was, I think they were only available through like a timed research thing, so you couldn't get them from the wild. And I actually managed to get a non costume Eevee shiny from a party play feature. So we did like a task, like, I don't know, walk 4 kilometers or something like that, and one of the rewards is an Eevee, and I managed to get a shiny from that, but it didn't have the costume, so that was pretty pointless. That was my first shiny. I didn't get any other shinies in the first couple of hours, and then my next shiny was a Kabuto from the research day makeup event from when they forgot to boost the shinies for that. So we're 2 hours in, and my only shinies have been a non-event Eevee and a Kabuto, which wasn't part of the event at all. Eventually I did start to get some actual shinies from the event, so that was fine, but it was just I'm kind of glad that it was me that was having this bad shiny luck, because, you know, if it was someone else who actually really cared about the shinies, they probably would have been devastated. But obviously I'm not too fussed about the shinies, so it didn't really matter to me. I just found it funny. But yeah, I think overall pretty enjoyable event. However, in saying that, it was hard carried by the XL candy bonus that wasn't actually part of this event at all. And I do wonder if I'd actually take part in a future Safari Zone if that bonus was not going to be part of it, which it probably won't be since it wasn't actually meant to be for this event at all. But yeah, I'd say overall I had a pretty enjoyable time for the event. I would definitely say it was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. As I mentioned, obviously, yeah, mostly carried by the XL bonus, but yeah, it is what it is. You know, it was part of the event in the end, and yeah, it led to a very enjoyable experience. But I will say, I actually maybe even enjoyed the bug out event more so than the actual Safari event itself. And that was also because, first of all, the XL Candy bonus was part of the bug event, which I was able to take advantage of, get lots of XL Candies for certain bug-type Pokemon, but also because the lures were just 24/7 throughout the entire city, it actually meant that I saw quite a lot of Sizzlipede, which was great, because if I was at home, I probably would have done like 2 research tasks for it, built one of them as a Center Scorch, and that would have been it. So yeah, actually being able to grind quite a lot of XL candies as well for this Pokemon. I think I got over 200 of them at this point. So, and I got a hundo from the research, which is currently my new sort of long-term buddy project. So that's going to be cool. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So, you know, let me know if you've ever been to one of these city safari events or any of the safari zones that have been in specific parks in the... I was going to say in the future, in the past. Let me know if you enjoyed them, what things you didn't enjoy about those events. And yeah, at this point, we've still got quite a few battles that I've recorded, so might as well do some actual commentary like I normally do. At this point, the opponent goes for the grass knot there. Honestly, Credilli pretty much always goes for Rock Tomb these days, so I kind of just assumed they'd go for the resisted move there, but that was not the case. And unfortunately, we go down. But we come in with the Rapidash, we go for Wild Charge, and it gets the KO from that range. They come back in with Swalot, and they come in with their own Mud Slap user in Kanto Marowak. Now, unfortunately, Body Slam not going to do much damage in this matchup. Bone Club, a much better move, and of course, it's going to be stab damage as well. When I say much better, it's mostly much better because of that stab damage. But either way, we're going to fire off another Body Slam on the CMP tie here. Body Slam actually going to be no-shielded by the opponent. And that is really unfortunate. At this point, I kind of need to preserve the health here, as I need my Mudsdale to take out that Swalot. So we swap back into Rapidash, hoping to bait out the Swalot, going straight for Wild Charge, dealing huge damage there. And the opponent is going to overfarm, allow me to reach a Body Slam. However, the opponent at this point probably just going to farm up to back-to-back charge moves. And if they do so, then unfortunately, there's just not really a lot we can do here. Sludge going to be taking us out there. They're already at another charge move. And if it's an Ice Beam will actually not take us out because it's a Sludge. And as a result, that's a resisted charge move. We're able to tank it, fire off the Body Slam at the last second, and Body Slam gets the KO up against the Marowak. And I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top end there. Not sure if they maybe just didn't have Ice Beam. You know, maybe they have like a TM issue, for example. I have definitely struggled this season to get a few moves on Pokemon that I wanted to showcase. But either way, into the next battle, we see the opponent's going to swap into a Azumarill. So I'm actually just going to stay in with the Rapidash, fire off back-to-back Wild Charges here. Wild Charge number 2, going to be shielded by the opponent, grabbing the final shield already. And we throw on alignment, but it ends up being a CMP tie. So Wild Charge number 3 does big damage up against the Azu. And at this point, I'm happy to let the Rapidash go down. Ice Beam taking us out there. Now, we're going to come in with the Mudsdale. Now, Mudsdale actually has slightly better stats for the Great League than a Mudbray. So, if you can get your hands on one of these Pokemon, I would definitely recommend building the Mudsdale over the Mudbray. However, I mean, it's not going to make too much of a difference either way. But we're going to go for an Earthquake. And Earthquake from this range takes out the Malamar, and they've got a Mulga in the back. So at this point, things should be looking pretty good for us. I'm going to go and fire off a Body Slam. Body Slam does respectable damage there. And at this point, the opponent is going to farm up to back-to-back charge moves. The opponent is going to bait with a Discharge, but it doesn't matter, as it looks like Mudbray able to actually win CMP up against the Emolga, taking them out with a Body Slam. And I'm able to take that game. So, GG's up on there into next battle. We see Credilli in the lead this time around now. Unfortunately, Credilli is definitely a problematic Pokemon for this team. However, this time, I'm going to swap Catch the Move onto the Mudbray, and it is the Rock Tomb this time around. So, of course, they debuff my attack, which is not really ideal, especially when they come in with a Mandibuzz. They're already double resisting the Mud Slap damage. Body Slam just really doesn't do much damage at all. I fire off the next Body Slam straight away, but the opponent, it looks like they're just going to farm up to 100 energy before finally taking out the Mudbray. And honestly, just not a lot we can do here. So at this point, Aerial Ace takes us out. I'm going to come in with the Rapidash, but I'm not going to throw straight away. I do have a Wild Charge already banked, but I don't want to throw just in case the opponent does end up shielding. So the opponent fires off the Dark Pulse there. Of course, if I threw a Wild Charge and they shielded it, then we would debuff our defense. But either way, Wild Charge does not take them out there, but one more Fairy Wind does the job. I can now fire off another Wild Charge. Unfortunately, it is resisted damage, but it grabs the shield anyways. We swap into the Mudsdale, and I'm going to shield this time around. The opponent is going to go for a Rock Tomb there. Of course they do. Typical, the one time we didn't shield up against a Credilli, and they actually went for the Grass Knot. But either way, we're firing off the Earthquake, grabbing a shield, the final shield from the opponent. And the fact they shielded there probably implies that they are weak to the ground typing in the back. They double debuff me there. So at this point, I'm going to have to fire off a Body Slam before they reach the next move, and then swap into my Rapidash to catch the charge move, or at least to force the opponent to throw their energy. The opponent goes for Grass Knot this time around, taking us out, but they've got a Shadow Drapion in the back, so they're weak to the ground typing. But unfortunately, they're able to outpace me to the Aqua Tail, taking out the Mudsdale, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's up on there into the next battle. We see Feraligatr in the lead. So we're going to swap into a Mudbray. Of course, Feraligatr also a bit of a core breaker, but I'd rather swap into one of the Mud Slappers and not take super effective damage from the Shadow Claws, whilst we do have shields in play, because I can, of course, just double shield these Hydro Cannons here. I actually don't think I will be able to go for a full Mud Slap farm. Then the opponent is giving me as much opportunity as possible by throwing on alignment, but I'm just barely not going to get there. However, they actually swap into a Clodsire, catch the Body Slam, which is a very nice play. However, I will be able to reach a charge move, but instead of throwing, I'm actually going to catch it onto my Mudsdale, as it is just a resisted Sludge Bomb there. And at this point, Mudsdale hopefully is still bulky enough to tank an Earthquake and commit to a full Mud Slap farm down. Earthquake does big damage, but Mudsdale gets the farm down there. And at this point, I can either go for a Body Slam or go for the Earthquake. I assume they're going to come in with their final Pokemon. So Earthquake does big damage there. We are now going to come in with the Rapidash. And the opponent tries to swap back into Feraligatr, but they actually were in range where one Fairy Wind takes them out. I go for Wild Charge. I actually just completely forgot which side the Earthquake was on. Obviously, Mudbray and Mudsdale have the exact same moveset, but if you've been paying attention to the battles, they do have the charge moves on their opposite sides. So either way, we miss out on an Earthquake there to get the KO, but it doesn't matter, as Rapidash makes it to the Body Slam. Body Slam takes out the Dunsparce, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's up on there into the next battle. We see Altaria in the lead, so a great lead matchup for us. Definitely where we want to see it. The opponent then swaps into Galarian Stunfisk. I make a slight mistake here coming in with the Mudbray. I think Mudsdale, as we've seen already, can take an Earthquake from a Clodsire, so Galarian Stunfisk pretty similar in terms of stat product there, so we should have been able to tank that fairly comfortably, but Mudbray, unfortunately, a little bit glassier there. They're only going to make it to a Rock Slide, so I do no shield this time around. We're going to go and fire off a Body Slam straight away, as we've got 100 energy. Going to farm up 2 back-to-back Body Slams now. Body Slam not going to hurt too much, but they are very spammy. And at this point, honestly, I probably should just swap into my Rapidash and try and snipe them, or just get ahead on energy, not let them farm me down. And the opponent actually swaps out, but they swap into Serperior, and Serperior is really troublesome for this team. We go for Body Slam there. We grab a shield, as the opponent honestly has no clue what kind of charge moves we could be running. We could be running Mega Horn for all they know, so they do end up shielding that first move. We're now going to shield this, and the opponent goes for a Frenzy Plant there, and we are going to overfarm. I'm going to throw just before the opponent reaches the next charge move, and then I will try to catch the next charge move onto the Mudbray, but unfortunately the opponent holds onto the energy. And at this point, it's really not looking too good. I'm hoping the opponent blind throws like an Aerial Ace or something, but no, they are going to wait to see what comes in. The opponent fires off the Frenzy Plant, actually doesn't get the KO. We do get off the Mud Slap damage, but it doesn't put them into Fairy Wind farm down. And of course, the opponent actually goes for a Leaf Tornado there, debuffs my attack. Not that it makes a difference here, as we can go for a Body Slam. Body Slam grabs the final shield. They can just Dragon Breath, farm me down, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's up home there into the next battle. We see a Primeape in the lead, and honestly, I don't know how comfortably I'm going to tank a Rage Fist here. So usually I would let the first one go through, as of course they're going to boost up their attack, but at this point I'm thinking, I'm not confident that Rapidash can no shield and then not get farmed down by the Karate Chops. It probably could, but I just didn't really know. So either way, we swap, we catch the next Rage Fist onto our Mudbray before going for a full Mud Slap farm down. The opponent comes in with a Clodsire, which of course, not a great matchup into my Mudbray, so they might have like a double weak team to ground in the back, in which case that's fine with me. You can see I did have a Body Slam loaded, but I'd rather they throw the energy and they full send an Earthquake as well. So I don't know what that means. Are they not running a single move? I don't have a clue. By the way, these battles are done at like 1900 to 2000 elo range, as I completely forgot. Basically, I didn't play at all since Wednesday, early hours of Wednesday morning, so I forgot like what elo range I was at. But what I did was I used the cross station theme team. Didn't go very well. I then switched up to the Shadow Absol team with the Swallow and the Kanto Grimer, and did regain all of that elo straight away. But then I thought, you know what, we've only got like 4 wins with the crustaceans, might as well give that another try. And then I went an 0-5 and went back down to like the low 1900 elo range. So yeah, we started off very low for these battles, which is kind of why I wasn't like that impressed by these battles. Didn't really care about like doing commentary over the entire battles here, just because like Not all of them were that crazy, but either way, into this battle, we are seeing the opponent's going to come in with Feraligatr. They actually no-shield the Body Slam. You can see that really doesn't do that much damage here. Whereas if I was running Shadow Donphan, for example, we go for Trailblaze, boost up our attack. At that point, Body Slams will be KOing. But either way, we commit one shield, we go for the full farm down. They come in with the Unova and Stunfisk, and I can just go for Body Slams here. Body Slam, going to be shielded by the opponent. And I'm actually going to no-shield this. We can tank this pretty comfortably. The opponent goes for Mud Bomb there. I'm actually just going to save some time. Just full send the Earthquake at this point. And Earthquake is going to be no-shielded by the opponent. I'm able to take out the Stunfisk. And I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.